Well, it remains to be seen just how successful this Wave Busters movement is going to be in stopping this massive, I don't even know what. And when it comes to interviewing baseball players, I think even a Cliche Busters movement wouldn't make too many great strides. You know, like it says right here in the book, and it does in here somewhere, here you go. Hear them once, hear them twice, let those words sink in. They say them again and again and again, and again and again and again.
We have one on our team. It's called Hang With 'Em. And that's when you hit a line drive at somebody, or somebody makes a great diving catch and somebody will come back. You know, you're a little bit upset, and the first thing that comes out of somebody's mouth is hang with them.
Awesome. I think, you know, you see a guy make a great catch and you say, that's awesome. You know, it's great.
Yeah, I think it's not over till it's over. It's pretty well worn out. I think every baseball saying is probably a little too overdone nowadays.
But today's the first day of the rest of your life. You can't worry about yesterday. You know, you got to go out today.
Hang in there. As a hitter, when you hit a line drive and somebody catches it, or somebody makes a great catch, you come back to the bench and the guys say, hang in there. It never works, friends. It never works, fans, because we only get 3 out of 10 hits to be great, so that means we're going to make 7 outs, and when they take one of those 3 out of 10 hits away from you, you're still losing.
My favorite cliche is, it's still early yet.
Well, hang with them. Hang with them. That's the worst cliche in baseball, because you know if you got to hang with them, you know you just took an offer. And I've heard too many hang with them's this year. I'm getting sick and tired of hearing hang with them.
Hang with them. Sometimes I get so tired of hearing that, but yeah, it's so true, you know. And let me explain what I mean. You know, when a guy lines out, that's when you hear it the most, you know. And it's true in that you got to hang with them, you know. You got to keep going and keep struggling. But you get sick of hearing it because it just means you did something good, but you don't have anything to show for it. So that's my favorite and least favorite at the same time. I like to say it, but I don't like to hear it.
And that'll do it in the Cubbies' 5th. 5 complete at Wrigley. Goose eggs across the board. Expos nothing, Cubs nothing.
Well, if it isn't my close personal
Jim!
Bob Costas, world-renowned broadcaster. How are you, Bob?
Oh, Jim, you're too kind, and actually I must correct you. To be more precise in your language, I believe what you meant to say is perhaps nationally known broadcaster.
Well, Bob, I'm sorry to use sloppy English around you, but, you know, I kid you, and I kid you for one reason and one reason alone. Because I love. You are one of the giants of the business, and by the business, of course, I mean the entire industry, really. Mm-hmm. And in that position, Bob, I would imagine that you really abhor the use of cliches in broadcasting, don't you?
Right you are, Jim Scott. As a matter of fact, it's one of my most deeply held beliefs that there is absolutely no room up here in the catbird seat for old, worn-out phrases. You must stay fresh in your descriptive technique.
And, Bob, I'm sure you do that better than anyone else that I can think of in the entire business.
Well, Jim, that's for others to judge, don't you think? You know, I'd love to talk more about this, but it looks like they're just about set to start that 6th frame.
Seems to be, Bob.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
We go to the top half of the 6th at Wrigley.
The Cubs' stylish southpaw Steve Trout working on a 2-hitter as we go to the 6th. I tell you, he's been close to flawless. Just a couple of safeties for the Expos, and neither one of those hit hard. Now, as he does a little repair work on the mound, he'll face the heart of the Montreal order, led by the Hawk, Andre Dawson, followed by Gary Carter and Tim Wallach. Here's the first one to Dawson, and it's a big curveball for a called strike 1. Dawson steps out, getting himself set. I tell you, the old deuce has worked well for Trout so far today. Now Andre settles back into the box. You got to be careful with this big fella. The port-sider deals, and he jams him, and it's a little, excuse me, base hit into right field, dropping in front of Moreland. So Andre Dawson with a leadoff bingle. He's joined down there by first base coach Felipe Alou, and that brings up Gary Carter. He is wearing an 0 for 2 collar. The big backstop is one of the senior circuit's premier batsmen. All right, Trout toes the slab and peers into Davis, who wigwags the sign. Here it comes, swinging a ground ball toward short. They might get 2. Forward to Sandberg for 1, on to Durham with a big stretch, and they turn it over. Fans, if you're scoring at home, mark that one 6-4-3. And as I've always said, the old wholesaler, a pitcher's best friend. Forward to Sandberg to Durham on that quinella, and suddenly the bases are empty with 2 out. It'll be up to Tim Wallach if the Expos hope to do anything here in the visitors' 6th. All right, now, Steve Trout with his first delivery. Fastball up and in for ball 1. The lanky left-hander taking his time and eyeing Wallach. Always a long ball threat. He rocks into his motion and deals the 1-0. Here it comes, and there it goes. A long blast to the deep left center. Denier with a leap, but this ball is a souvenir for the fans out beyond the ivy in left center field. And on the round tripper by Wallach, his 12th four-master of the season, it's 1-0 Expos. He's glad-handed at third by Coach Billy DeMars. And it'll be high fives all around in the Expo dugout after that circuit, Clout. Holy Toledo. A couple more gopher balls like that, and skipper Jim Fry just might give this rainbow trout the hook. That baby was right down Broadway, and Wallach took it downtown. Now the well-traveled Jim Wolford. This guy's had a cup of coffee in KC, Milwaukee, and Frisco. First offering to him, a high can of corn out toward right. Keith Moreland taps the lever and puts it away. So that'll do it in the top half of the sixth. And with Trout due to lead off in the bottom half, it's decision time for the Cubby Brain Trust.
So after 5.5, you bet the Expos consider it the friendly confines. They lead the Cubbies 1-0. Well, Jim, how about that?
How about what, Bob?
Well, you know, the play-by-play. How am I doing?
Well, I'm afraid I'd have to say you're struggling a bit, big guy.
What do you mean struggling? I mean, how about that high can of corn, that long blast to the left? What's wrong with that?
Cliche, Bob. Cliche.
High can of corn is a cliche?
I don't know any other way to break it to you, Bob, except that's cliche all the way.
Oh, wait a minute. It sounded completely natural and spontaneous to me. You got to be kidding.
I'm sure it did sound completely natural and spontaneous to you, but Bob, there's no way around it. That's cliche all the way.
Hold, just a minute. I'm sure that the Unofficial Baseball Handbook can settle this. There's probably some guidelines about all this right here in this book. As a matter of fact, I think it's around page 21.
Well, we'll see just how right you are. 21? You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, yeah, so just read it. Just see what's there.
Okay. Tell it straight. Tell it like it is. So they've heard it all before. It's still a lot of showbiz.
Once you live by the sword, you die by the sword. You win games through gambling on the bases, and sometimes you lose them that way, too.
Pull the string on Dewey just a little bit, got him swinging.
Well, Davis struck out his first time up. And a big hook from Wilcox, one of the two strikeouts Milt has obtained.
Rick went to the well once too often with that off-speed curveball, and Nettles really ripped it.
It goes back to that old cliche, if you're swinging, you're dangerous, and that's all Vance did. Took a swing, got it towards the end of the bat, hit a good pitch.
Well, they say this game's a game of inches, and you saw why right there. That was right in Guerrero's